On August 30th, 2024, Fat Man Scoop was performing on stage in Hampton, Connecticut, when tragedy struck. In the middle of his high-energy set, he suddenly collapsed, leaving fans and crew members in shock. Despite the immediate response from medical professionals and his transportation to a nearby hospital, the beloved artist could not survive. He was not the first one. There have been many performers, especially musicians, who have gone through this while live performances on stage. Big Pokey. Big Pokey, whose real name was Milton Powell, was a legendary rapper from Houston, Texas, and one of the founding members of the Screwed Up Clique. If you've ever heard of the chopped and screwed style of hip-hop, Big Pokey was one of the key players behind it. He got his start in the 90s working closely with DJ Screw, and he really made a name for himself with his 1999 album, Hardest Pit in the Litter. His freestyle on June 27 and his feature on Paul Wall's Sittin' Sideways are still iconic in the rap world. On June 17, 2023, during a live performance in Beaumont, Texas, Big Pokey suddenly collapsed on stage. He was rushed to the hospital, but sadly, he passed away overnight at just 48 years old. According to the autopsy, he suffered a heart attack with underlying health issues like hypertension, diabetes, and obesity contributing to his untimely death. Big Pokey wasn't just a rapper. He was a cornerstone of Houston's hip-hop culture, and his influence is still felt today. Fans and fellow artists continue to honor his legacy, keeping his music alive for generations to come. Sergio Deni. On March 11, 2019, during a concert in San Miguel de Tucumán, singer-songwriter Sergio Deni experienced a devastating accident. While performing, he fell from the stage, a drop of about 3 meters, and landed in an orchestra pit. The fall left him unconscious with a severe head injury and a broken shoulder. Dennis was rushed to a nearby hospital where doctors placed him in an induced coma due to the critical nature of his injuries. Despite ongoing medical care, he never regained consciousness. After more than a year of being in a coma, Sergio Deni passed away on May 15, 2020, leaving behind a legacy cherished by fans of Latin music. Talal Madi. Talal Madi, affectionately known as the Earth's Voice, was a celebrated Saudi Arabian singer and composer whose career spanned over 4 decades. On August 11, 2000, at the age of 60, Madi was performing live on Al Meftaha stage in Abha, Saudi Arabia. During the concert, which was being broadcast live on Saudi national television, he collapsed on stage shortly after beginning one of his well-known songs. Despite immediate medical attention, he passed away from a heart attack. Madi's sudden passing was a profound loss to the music community and his fans. The official Saudi press agency confirmed his death and honored his significant contributions to Arabic music. His funeral was held in Jeddah, and he was laid to rest in Mecca. Even after his death, Madi's music continues to resonate with audiences, solidifying his legacy as a pivotal figure in Saudi and Middle Eastern music. Jpe Pino Mango. Jpe Pino Mango, an acclaimed Italian singer-songwriter, passed away on December 8, 2014, at the age of 60. During a concert in Policoro, southern Italy, he was performing his renowned song Oro when he suddenly raised his arm, apologized to the audience by saying, "Excuse me," and then collapsed on stage. He was promptly transported to a hospital but, unfortunately, did not survive the heart attack. Tragically, just a day later, his older brother, Giovanni Mango, age 75, suffered a heart attack during Pino's wake and also passed away. Pino Mango was celebrated for his unique fusion of pop, rock, folk, and world music, and he left an indelible mark on the Italian music scene. His untimely death was a significant loss to the music community and his fans worldwide. Anthony Berger. Anthony Berger was a beloved gospel pianist known for his incredible talent and energy. On February 22, 2006, during a Geither gospel cruise aboard MS Zuiderdam, Anthony suddenly fell down and passed away at just 44.
And one of the wheels of the walker got stuck in a floor furnace that we had in our home back in Tennessee.
He was performing alongside gospel legends Bill and Gloria Gaither and Guy Penrod when something unimaginable occurred. In the middle of the performance, fans noticed something was wrong. Anthony had suddenly stopped moving, and his hands were clenched into fists over the keyboard. It was a shocking moment. Fellow artists rushed to his aid, carrying him backstage while the ship's emergency response team jumped into action, performing CPR for an agonizing 45 minutes. Sadly, their efforts couldn't revive him. He had suffered a massive heart attack. The news of his passing sent waves of grief through the gospel music world. Anthony Berger wasn't just a musician. He was a cornerstone of the genre, bringing joy and inspiration to countless fans through his music. His loss is still deeply felt by all who admired his talent and spirit. Spade Cooley. Spade Cooley was once hailed as the king of Western swing. He was a musician who dominated the country music scene in the 1940s and 50s. But his life took a dark and tragic turn, and his story ended in an almost surreal way. On November 23, 1969, Cooley was out on a 72-hour furlough from prison, where he was serving a sentence for ending his wife. He had been granted temporary leave to perform a benefit concert in Oakland, California, which was meant to show his reformed character. During the performance, Spade seemed to be in good spirits, even joking about making a comeback once he was released. However, shortly after finishing his set and receiving a standing ovation, he collapsed backstage. It was a heart attack, and despite efforts to save him, he died almost instantly. The irony of a man whose life was filled with turmoil, finding his end just after a moment of applause, still lingers as one of the most dramatic conclusions to a controversial life. Pedro Henrique, on December 13, 2023, during a live performance in Feira de Santana, Bahia. Pedro Henrique was performing the song Vai Ser Tão Lindo at a religious event when, partway through the performance, he suddenly collapsed on stage. Henrique fell backward and lost consciousness instantly. Emergency responders were called to the scene, and he was rushed to a nearby hospital. Despite the medical team's efforts, he was pronounced dead shortly after arrival. The cause of death was determined to be a massive heart attack. The shocking moment occurred in full view of the audience, leaving fans and fellow performers in disbelief. The incident left his fans and the gospel music community reeling with grief. Known for his soulful voice and deep faith, Pedro Henrique's passing marked a significant loss to Brazilian gospel music, and his legacy continues to inspire. Screen fall on dancers. On July 28, 2022, a horrifying incident occurred during a concert by the immensely popular boy band Mirror in Hong Kong. While performing at the Hong Kong Coliseum, a giant video screen suspended above the stage suddenly detached and fell, striking one dancer directly before toppling onto others. The shocking scene unfolded in front of thousands of horrified fans, with footage of the accident quickly circulating online. The concert was halted immediately, and the band's manager addressed the audience, urging them to calmly exit the arena. 2 male dancers were hospitalized due to the incident. According to local reports, one suffered serious neck injuries and was placed in intensive care, while the other was in stable condition. Several female fans were also treated for shock. The identities of the injured dancers were not disclosed. The Hong Kong government responded swiftly, suspending the remainder of Mirror's concert series until thorough safety inspections could be conducted at other venues. Hong Kong Chief Executive John Lee expressed his shock over the incident, extended his sympathy to the injured, and called for a comprehensive investigation into the tragedy. Nelson Eddy. On March 5, 1967, iconic entertainer Nelson Eddy suffered a tragic incident while performing at the Sans Souci Hotel in Miami Beach, Florida. During his performance of the song Dardanella, he collapsed on stage, struck by a cerebral hemorrhage. His longtime singing partner, Gail Sherwood, and his accompanist, Ted Paxson, rushed to his aid, but the situation was critical. Eddy was transported to Mount Sinai Medical Center, where he passed away in the early hours of March 6, 1967, at the age of 65. Eddy, renowned for his operatic voice and memorable performances in classic musicals, left behind a legacy cherished by fans worldwide. He was laid to rest at Hollywood Forever Cemetery, buried between his mother and his widow, who survived him by 20 years. Bruce Hampton. On May 1, 2017, Colonel. Bruce Hampton celebrated his 70th birthday with an all-star tribute concert at the Fox Theater in Atlanta, Georgia, which was dubbed Hampton 70, a celebration of Colonel Bruce Hampton. The event brought together a remarkable lineup of musicians, including members of Widespread Panic, Fish, Tedeschi Trucks Band, and REM, along with other prominent artists and even a 13-year-old guitar prodigy, Brandon Niederauer. Proceeds from the event were directed to the Fox Theatre Institute and musician-focused charities, reflecting Hampton's lifelong commitment to supporting the arts. Tragically, during the encore performance, Hampton collapsed on stage while Niederauer was soloing on the song, Turn On Your Love Light. Known for his eccentric stage antics, many initially thought his collapse was part of a stage joke, as Hampton had a history of such pranks during performances. He lay motionless, face down with his arm draped over a monitor, as the band continued playing, unaware of the severity of the situation. After several minutes, Hampton was carried off stage and rushed to Emory University Hospital Midtown in Atlanta, where he was pronounced dead from a massive heart attack. His passing marked the end of a storied and influential career, leaving an indelible impact on the music world and a legacy of creativity, humor, and mentorship. Sib Hashian. On March 22, 2017, Sib Hashian, best known as the drummer for the iconic rock band Boston, tragically passed away at the age of 67. Hashian was performing live on the cruise ship Independence of the Seas as part of a Legends of Rock-themed cruise. During his set, he suddenly collapsed on stage, suffering a fatal heart attack. Efforts were made to revive him, but Hashian could not be saved. His passing stunned fans and the music community, marking the end of a career that included his powerful drumming on Boston's legendary hits like More Than a Feeling and Peace of Mind. Hashian's legacy as a rock drummer lives on, celebrated by fans and fellow musicians alike. Miriam Mabuza. On November 9, 2008, Zenziel Miriam Mabuza, fondly known as Mama Africa, passed away at the age of 76 after suffering a heart attack during a concert in Castelvolturno, Italy. She was performing at a benefit concert aimed at raising awareness about organized crime when she collapsed shortly after singing her iconic hit, Pata Pata. Her death marked the end of a remarkable life devoted to music, activism, and the fight against oppression. Mabuza's legacy extends far beyond her music. As one of the first African musicians to achieve global recognition, she brought the sounds of Africa to international audiences, blending Afropop, jazz, and world music. She was not only a musical icon, but also a tireless advocate against apartheid in South Africa and a symbol of resistance to injustice. Her song Soweto Blues, written by Hugh Masekela, became an anthem for the anti-apartheid movement. Throughout her career, Mabuza used her platform to speak against racism and inequality. She testified at the United Nations, worked alongside civil rights leaders in the U.S., and performed at numerous independence celebrations across Africa. Despite being exiled from her homeland for decades, her spirit remained deeply rooted in South African culture and the struggle for freedom. Meatloaf, Marvin Lee Aday. On June 16, 2016, during a concert at Edmonton's Northern Alberta Jubilee Auditorium, Meatloaf, the renowned rock singer born Marvin Lee Aday, collapsed on stage while performing his iconic song, I'd Do Anything for Love, But I Won't Do That. The 68-year-old artist was promptly attended to by his bandmates and emergency medical personnel before being transported to a nearby hospital. The cause of the collapse was later attributed to severe dehydration. This incident occurred shortly after Meatloaf had postponed a show in Calgary earlier that week due to illness. Following the Edmonton collapse, his representative assured fans that Meatloaf was responsive and recovering well. Meatloaf had previously experienced health issues during performances, including a collapse in London in 2003 due to Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome, and another in Pittsburgh in 2011, attributed to an asthma attack. Juan Carlos Formel. On May 26, 2023, Juan Carlos Formel, a Grammy-nominated Cuban-American musician and bassist for the renowned band Los Van Van, suffered a fatal heart attack during a performance at the Lehman Center for the Performing Arts in New York City. Midway through the concert, Formel collapsed on stage, prompting immediate medical attention. Despite efforts to revive him, he was pronounced dead at the age of 59. Born into a distinguished musical family, Formel was the son of Juan Formel, the founder of Los Van Van. He joined the band in 2014, following his father's passing, and contributed significantly to its Afro-Cuban sound. His sudden death was a profound loss to the music community, and he is remembered for his exceptional talent and dedication to Cuban music.